right. Good evening, everyone. How you doing? All right. Who do we have here? Say hi to everyone. Hi, Marion, if you're still here. Gina. Who else do we got? Circus Music. Echoes of Clarity. JB. Meg P. P. Fox. Carrie. Sweet and Salty. Lady Leo. Truth and Justice, True Crime with Anna D, Sharon Asp. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Here we are, yet another live. And I got to tell you, so I was sitting in traffic today, and I had what I can only describe to be an epiphany. Hello, Lady Speedwell. So maybe it's not an epiphany. Maybe it is. But so the reason that I titled the live tonight, the second forensic sweep, the latent shoe print in the sheath. Hi, Lady Leo. Well, I have a reason I titled it that. It's due to my epiphany. Hi, Casa Miriam. So, remember back in the beginning when we were told about the second sweep high swirefly. We were told about the second forensic sweep conducted on the home. I'm sure everybody remembers that. This is where they found the latent shoe print. So, hello, Translucent. So first of all, I would like to go over very quickly. I'm going to see if I can present this to you. So let's see. Just for educational purposes, I would like to present this here. It's just going to be some basic information on latent blood prints. We're going to get into the size because I have the affidavit here pulled up, Carrie, and no size on the shoe is ever mentioned, just for clarification. So here we go. Hope everybody can see this all right here. Maybe you can't because of the way that whatever I don't know what I did to my screen here. See, this is why I need Twiz. Hi, Jesse. How can I make this bigger? Shit. What do I do? I want to be able to make this bigger for everybody. Shift 8. That's what it says. I did that. Well, F. Now what do I do? Darn it. Okay, I'm going to read this to you guys. Okay, so this is from the Crime Scene Investigator Network page. It says latent blood prints, methods for chemical enhancement. Let's see. So blood is often found on various surfaces at crime scenes where physical violence occurred. Therefore, blood acts as a transfer medium for latent fingerprints and shoe prints. I'll link this, obviously, for everybody to read as well. On some occasions, the blood residue retains enough color and detail to permit direct photographic recovery, but generally, the blood marks are too faint to permit photography using conventional light sources. In a report published by the California Department of Justice, Bureau of Forensic Science Services, scientists conducted significant research indicating that reagents may be introduced to the visible stains or areas suspected of containing latent blood impressions. For many years, forensic scientists have used reagents such as leucomalachite or ninhydrin to develop blood stains, but both of these substances have a tendency to run off or distort the prints on a non-porous surface. On the other hand, amido black has proven to be quite useful. This article reviews 3 popular methods for blood print enhancement: amido black, leucocrystal violet, LCB, and Hungarian red. So I'm going to stop right here for 1 second. And just to clarify, hi, Lady Leo. I don't know how to change the screen size, truth and justice. I wish I knew how to do this, honey. I'm not a real YouTuber, so um, I'm sure if I had Twiz or somebody here, OCD, what's up? I don't know how to change it, or I would absolutely make this as big as I possibly can for you. Oh, wait. Did that do it, or did it only make it full screen for me? I don't even know if that worked. Someone tell me if that worked when I just did what I did there and made it bigger. Oh, it only made me bigger. Wait. Oh, it only made it bigger just for me, Jesse. Okay, well, I promise I'm gonna link it. I do not know. Wait a minute. You know what? Let me just stop here. Maybe I do know how to fix this, actually. Hmm. Okay. I lied. I don't know how to fix that. So we're gonna roll on. So anyways, the reason that I wanted to stop right there is because layouts. Layouts. Well, I don't have anything that says layouts. Well, should have known this was gonna go off the rails, huh? Well, anyways, so thanks, Translucent. Yeah, I'm just going to read it and I'll link it and whatever. Then you guys can go read it all for yourself. So the reason that I stopped where I did is because our friend here, Corporal Brett Payne, I'm going to share this real quick, okay? Just so that we can all see this, okay? Because I want you guys to see this is why people say that, well, is this person just completely incompetent? Because even the first time I read this PCA, right? We're going to go right here to this paragraph. I don't know if you can see this. It won't let me highlight it. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black. Now, I don't know if this was just a typo on his part or if he really is an idiot, but it's not amino black, it's amido black. That is the proper terminology for it, and we can see that from this document. So let's go back to the next one where we just were, latent blood prints. Okay. So it is amido black, A-M-I-D-O, not A-M-I-N-O, Corporal Brett Payne. Amido black is very sensitive and works well on non-porous surfaces, but its high background color, light to medium blue, comprises contrast on multicolored porous surfaces. Amido black is a protein stain and as such should not be considered as even a presumptive test for blood, let alone a confirmatory test. The protein may be present in other bodily fluids in addition to blood. However, other actual presumptive tests may be successful after the application of amido black. The amido black staining solution can be methanol or water-based. Amido black in methanol has a greater staining power, but due to the toxicity of the methanol, it is also more dangerous. For use on a crime scene, for example, shoe prints in blood, the water-based staining solution is advised. So even here, it is telling us that when forensics is using amido black, They can use it either methanol-based or water-based. The amido black, when methanol-based, has a greater staining power, but is also very toxic, so it's more dangerous to use at a crime scene. It says here, for use of amido black on a crime scene, for example, shoe prints in blood, you want to use the water-based staining solution instead, not the methanol. Everybody tracking? Who, Payne? Yeah, he probably doesn't know how to spell. I know, right? It's wild. Hi, Amy. Hi, Beckles. That's what I was thinking too, P. Fox, but we're going to, trust me, as we get into it, you'll realize, in fact, this is actually someone who stepped in blood and then cleaned it. 1,000,000%. So that's what I thought too, because it says it can react with other proteins, right? Not just blood. That's what I thought too. So I was like, proteins, that could be vomit, right? That could be urine. That's what I was thinking. Same thing. But then the further I dug and the further I looked into these things, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's interesting. I believe this article is the one that continues to go into the purposes of amido black. Carrie, that was the reason they gave to destroy the house. It was too contaminated. Well, Carrie, that's what the reason they gave, yes. But I don't believe that they would have had to use the methanol. Because we just read in this article here that if, for example, you are trying to retrieve a shoe print from blood, you would not use the methanol-based amido black. You would use the water-based, so it wouldn't be toxic, I guess is the point I'm getting at. When I scroll the chat, it takes me to another screen. I have no idea, honey. Sorry. I can't even figure out how to make my screen bigger, so. We're in the same boat, Beckles. Okay. Apparently, I am technologically challenged today. All right, so let's get back into reading this. Amido black aqueous solutions, or aqueous for water, I guess, field or lab use. It tells you how to weigh out 20 grams of the sulfosalicylic acid, place in a clean, dry 2-liter glass beaker. So it's just telling you how to create it and then the application. So it says, note, the fixing and working solutions may be applied using a spray application. For trade development, follow the procedure below. Okay, so photograph any visible prints. Photographs of any visible prints must be taken before proceeding. Important to note, before using this technique on a corpse, clear the procedure with the coroner or medical examiner's office. Okay. You guys reading that? It's the important notice. Before using this technique on a corpse, clear the procedure with the coroner or medical examiner's office. Thanks, Jesse. Translucent. Was it cleaned? I mean, that's exactly what it sounds like based on everything I found about amido black, what it's used for, more specifically, in regards to a shoe print in blood. So because this testing was done on the second sweep, that tells me that this shoe print was not there the first go around. So the reason I titled my live, The Second Forensic Sweep, the latent shoe print and the sheath, hopefully that's going to help everybody, what I just said, to track where I'm going with this. That shoe print was not found the first time around. That shoe print was found second sweep using Amido Black. So I'm going to cut to the chase of where I'm going with this. It is my very strong opinion that the reason that Brian's defense team knows that the sheath was placed is simply because of this second forensic sweep. I believe that they know for a fact that it was placed, and it was placed sometime between when the crime scene was cordoned off, everybody went home, and someone else went back into that place and placed it, whatever you want to call it. And in my opinion, the only people who had access to that crime scene from November 13th and on would have been law enforcement. The second sweep was done 3 days later, correct? First sweep was done November 13th. Second sweep was done November 15th. Second sweep, they find the print. That tells me that sometime between the first sweep of the house and the second sweep of the house from November 14th into November 15th, someone from law enforcement, in my opinion, allegedly, in my opinion, because those are the only people that would have been able to get into that house after that. So it is my very strong opinion that if that sheath was placed, it was placed by a law enforcement officer. Hey, Lux, yes, they were likely in plain clothes. They weren't dressed as an officer. That's kind of the point I'm getting at. Katsuki. That's a funny name. What does it mean? Yes, Meg, they do say that it is a van-like shoe print. Agreed. That just tells me the person was likely in plain clothes. Heather, I'm not exactly sure how long the bodies were in there for. I literally have no idea. I don't want to even take a guess because I don't know. But what I can tell you is that if we go and look at Corporal Brett Payne's affidavit again, I know we've all seen it a million times, but let's just go look at it again. Okay. It says, during the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team. Okay. So where I'm going with this is after what I just read regarding Amido Black. Okay. Yeah, I just summarized what my thought is on this translucent. My thought is on this is sometime between November 14th and November 15th, when the second sweep was done. Someone went into that property to place the sheath. I believe that the second shoe print, that latent shoe print, wasn't found until the second sweep because it wasn't there on the first sweep. It didn't exist. And then whoever went back in there made sure to wipe up. That's just my opinion, though. It kind of, I don't know. I was sitting in traffic today and I always want, like, how would they have gotten the sheath in, right? How would someone have even planted it? I understand that in this affidavit, Payne is claiming that he later noticed. Let's just go. We'll read it again. You know, this has got Eric Grower's name, by the way, still in this one. So the one that I'm reading, by the way, is unredacted. This still has the private driver's name in this one. So, And the reason that I have this unredacted one is because it's the one attached to, I don't know if you guys can see all this here. This is everything from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania with right here. I'll try to highlight it. No, it's not going to let me. County of Monroe, affidavit of probable cause. So this is everything that I got from the County of Monroe when they did the raid down in PA. So they attached Corporal Brett Payne's Exhibit A with this. Now he says here, Officer Smith and I entered the King and I. Notice he says that. He doesn't say Officer Smith, Blaker, and I. He says Officer Smith and I entered the King Road residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. OFC Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. OFC Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room. I'm going to sidebar here. Why is he digging through Xana's personal belongings in the room? It's a crime scene. He's not supposed to touch anything. Just saying. Forensics has not gone through yet, so he's not supposed to touch anything. But I hope everybody's noticing here. He's saying, I, me, I, me. I thought Officer Smith walked both of them through the scene at the same time. Okay? So, you guys tracking? How's everybody doing? So far, so good? Meg P. Maybe both of them are lying. Maybe. Maybe. All right, so let's get back over here. Was Xana Kernodle. So I later learned through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room was Xana Kernodle's, hereafter Kernodle's room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room. So all of the speculation about Ethan being up against the door, blah, 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 all of this, I don't think that's true. It says also in the room was a male. It doesn't say where. Initially, I could have sworn this said he was on the bed, but I don't know. Does anybody else remember that initial reports where he was on the bed? Someone was on the floor, someone was on the bed. I thought, but I don't know. I know that they changed this. This is supposed to be the unredacted one, but it doesn't have the Spokane autopsy report in it, which it should have, because it states even in this document that they attached the medical examiner's reports, but I don't see them in here. They're X'd out. So anyways, let's continue. As I approached the room, I could see a body. Okay. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter Chapin. Chapin was also deceased with wounds, later determined, autopsy report provided by Spokane County Medical Examiner Veena Singh, dated December 15th, 2022, to be caused by sharp force injuries. So look at that date there. The County Medical Examiner, Veena Singh, dated her autopsy report for Ethan. This is Ethan's autopsy report. December 15th. That's almost a month and 2 days after the crime. Okay. Isn't that wild? So the medical examiner didn't even do Ethan's autopsy until almost like a month and a few days after the crime. which is kind of crazy, right? I don't know. Anybody else think that's kind of crazy? Okay, let's read on. I then followed OFC Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consists of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Gonsalves, hereafter Gonsalves' room. I later learned from review of Officer Noon's body cam there was a dog in the room. So this is how we know, too, that the dog was not there when Payne arrived, because Payne only learned about Murphy after review of Noon's body cam. Okay, so the dog's already gone by the time Payne gets there. So I get it that they somehow they remove the dog, right? Bring it to animal control or whatever the case may be, how they handle that at a crime scene. Okay, I get that. But here we are again, another example just in this probable cause affidavit alone of things relevant to the crime scene being rifled through or removed, or, you know, he's going through Xana's personal belongings that he found in her room. He's not supposed to touch anything in that room. This is prior to the coroner even coming into the property, and Payne is in there touching things in the crime scene. Okay, leaving his fucking DNA all over her stuff, I'm sure, because he's probably not wearing gloves. I'd be shocked if he had on gloves. Well, then again, no, because he's pretty shifty, that one. He probably did wear gloves, actually, now that I think of it. Anyways, moving on from my rant. Let me get back down here. Sorry. So after he reviews the body cam of Noon's, he learns about Murphy. Murphy's already gone from the scene at this point. The dog belonged to Gonsalves and her ex-boyfriend, Jack DeCur. I found out from my interview with Jack on November 13th that he and Gonsalves shared the dog. See, now I say Goncalves too when I'm reading it. I can see why people mess it up. When you're reading it, it's weird. My brain says it differently. I'm just going to say Kaylee. He and Kaylee shared the dog. Officer Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. So here's where we're going to talk about this damn sheath. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 female all eyes. I'm going to go through and mark this up. I'm telling you, I'm going to print it off and I'm going to mark it up like my teacher would have in 6th grade. And I'm going to circle all of the I. I see nothing about Blaker in here. Okay. It's all I, me, just Payne and Smith. No? Isn't that crazy? All right. As I entered this room, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both Kaylee and Maddie were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be, You know why he later noticed it? Because it wasn't there the first time. Okay? It is my opinion that this probable cause affidavit was not written up, obviously, until much, much later for the arrest of Brian. Okay, I hope everybody's tracking where I'm going with this here. He has to type this up for the arrest of Brian. He is trying to remember everything that happened from November 13th and after to put it in this probable cause affidavit. He's trying to remember the narrative, I guess you could say, to be able to include it in here, okay? He later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Maddie's right side when viewed from the door. I am not knocking short people. This guy's all of 5 feet tall. I'm shocked he could see the sheath on the bed viewing it from the door. Just saying. I don't know how he saw it. So, and yeah, I'm going to take cheap shots at him because this sheath is, I think, what's going to do them in. Lux, we're going to get to that. Yes, under the victim. That's what Anne says. Anne says under, partially under. So he's claiming when he's standing at the door here, okay, I'm going to read this again. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Maddie's right side when viewed from the door. So where I'm going with this is I believe the reason that Corporal Brett Payne here later noticed this sheath is because this sheath was not there the first day, just like the shoe print wasn't there the first day. Okay. You get where I'm going with this here? So I believe not only was the sheath not there on the first day, which is why it was later noticed, I also believe this is why the latent shoe print wasn't found until the second sweep. I believe the latent shoe print is directly tied to the placing of the sheath. And I believe it was done sometime on the 14th of November, before the second sweep is done. I believe someone was able to gain access into that house. That's just my opinion. So, anyways, now that is just my opinion, obviously. You know, it's my speculation, but it was kind of one of those things. I was sitting in traffic today, and you know, as your brain does, I'm sure everybody else's, you kind of think, right? Like, who would have had the opportunity to plant a sheath and when? Obviously, you would think. Now, here's what makes me think, okay, the reason that I'm questioning this, everything in this probable cause affidavit, is because the state themselves has said the affidavit of probable cause is irrelevant. So if the state believes that this probable cause affidavit of Corporal Brett Payne is irrelevant, I'm gonna take a gander and a guess as to why. My guess is it likely has to do with this latent shoe print, this later notice sheath, and the second sweep of the house. Not to mention what I can only speculate, in my opinion, in this probable cause affidavit is just a bunch of lies to the court to establish probable cause to obtain the warrant. I think that Corporal Brett Payne misled the magistrate intentionally to give the appearance of probable cause for arrest. I think that's why we need to see a Frank's motion very soon, hopefully. What does everybody think? You tracking? You tracking why I named the title of this live the way that I did, and kind of why I wanted to give you some information on the latent shoe print, Amido black, why Amido black is used for a latent shoe print, why you would want to use the water-based Amido black rather than the chemical one, because the chemical one is incredibly toxic at a crime scene. Okay. It would also, you would need to, if bodies are still present, when you use the chemical, the methanol, was that what it was? Methanol amido black, I think it said. Let me go back and look. Right. I know it. Yeah, methanol. So the methanol based, you have a methanol based and a water based. The water based is going to be the one you would want to use. It says right here for use on a crime scene, example, shoe prints in blood. The water based staining solution is advised. So if they use this amido black on the second sweep of the house and they use the water-based staining solution, it should be, I believe, okay. But there was a important notice here that I highlighted that says photographs of any visible prints must be taken before proceeding. So when you're going to use amido black on, say, prints, shoe prints, fingerprints, whatever it is, you're trying to lift the print out of the blood or protein based, it's usually mixed with something. So that's kind of the point that I'm getting at here. For the shoe print mixed with blood, the shoe print has been in blood, the amido black is what's going to be used to detect it. The amido black is what's going to find something that has been cleaned up. If the shoe print was present on the first sweep of the house, like just an obvious shoe print in blood, you wouldn't have found it. It wouldn't have been there on the second sweep. Do you understand where I'm going with this? It would have been very visible on the first sweep of the home. There would have been bloody shoe prints everywhere. They're talking about a very single, specific, wiped up, latent shoe print that was found on the second sweep. So it's my very strong opinion that this latent shoe print, the second forensic sweep, and the sheath are all directly correlated, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Think I'm onto something, or possibly absolutely crazy? The marshals weren't there, though, at this time. We're talking about a time period from literally November 13th to November 15th. And yes, sweet and salty. Same. Can't wait to find out the size of the shoe print. Same. Because so many times we have heard so many people, a size 9.5, a size 13, a size this, a size that. This document literally says absolutely not a single thing about anything about the size of the shoe print. It just says latent shoe print. And I'll read it again just in case anybody is not tracking here. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by ISP forensics team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black. He says amino black, it's amido, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to a pattern of Vans. So it doesn't even say that it's a Vans. It's similar to the pattern of a Vans, just outside the door of Mortenson's bedroom located on the second floor. This is consistent with Mortenson's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. So that's it. That's it about the shoe print. There's nothing in there about a size whatsoever. So we should clear that up. I think it's important to, because we've heard so much, right, over the last 2 years. We need to be able to just kind of go on what the documents say and what the attorneys in the case say and what's said in court. Why even, Heather, why even mention any brand unless you have identified it? That's reckless. Yes, I agree. But I think that's also why he says similar to a van style. Right, Carrie, exactly. And it doesn't talk about pictures of the shoe print. I'm guessing, I mean, I would hope ISP took them. So now that I kind of read a little bit about these latent shoe prints in blood with amido black and why they would use it, and we have now covered exactly where Payne claims he later located this sheath or later learned about this sheath, right? Okay. Now let's stop sharing this one over here. And let's get to Ryan Koberger's defense team had to say about the sheath. Okay. This is from Fox 13 Seattle, July 20th, 2023. And this actually a document in it, which is so just for reference, as you can see, it's got a whole bunch. This is where we all remember specifically about the by 17th, 20. You could 2022 within the house where the deceased rated, and another unknown male DNA on a glove found outside the residence on November 20th, 2022. So by December 17th, 2022, lab analysts from ISP were aware of 2 additional male DNA within the house where the deceased were located, and another unknown male DNA on a glove found outside the residence on November 20th, 2022. To this date, the defense is unaware of what sort of testing, if any, was conducted on these samples other than the STR DNA profiles. Further, these 3 separate and distinct male DNA profiles were not identified through CODIS, leading to the conclusion that the profiles do not belong to Mr. Koberger. I'm going to stop right there. Remember, when everybody's saying, no, these 3 other DNAs didn't go to CODIS. They didn't. Yes, they did. And it says it right here. They were not identified. They didn't get anything from CODIS on these, okay? That's what they're saying. Separate and distinct male DNA profiles were not identified through CODIS. So all 3 of these profiles went into CODIS. 100%. Okay? Everybody tracking? So when Bill Thompson says that these 3 unknown DNAs were ineligible for CODIS, bullshit. Bullshit. Says it right here in the document. I'm reading this document right here. Okay. Further, these 3 separate and distinct male DNA profiles were not identified through CODIS. In order for them not to be identified through CODIS, they would have to be uploaded to CODIS. Okay? It goes on. While this was ongoing, police were investigating many various possible suspects. Many of them provided DNA. At least one had his DNA surreptitiously taken from a discarded cigarette. Many also had their phones taken and downloaded. One area of the investigation had to do with a white sedan seen on camera located at 1122 King Road, first glimpsed by officers on November 18th, 2022. You hear that? Let's read that again. One area of the investigation had to do with a white sedan that was seen on camera located located at 1122 King Road on November 18th. They're saying that an area of their investigation was a white sedan that was at the house 5 days after the murder. Okay? Tracking? Told you, I feel like I found something. I feel like I'm onto something here. Okay? By November 25th, 2022, police believed the car to be a white Elantra and asked law enforcement to be on the lookout for one. So November 25th, they had a bolo for a white Elantra. So when everybody talks about like November 29th, the defense is saying by November 25th, police had a white Elantra. That white Elantra was first glimpsed by officers on November 18th at the house. It was seen on camera. It was seen on a camera located at 1112. So the little camera at 1112 allegedly on November 18th has a white sedan 5 days after the murder on camera. Okay. Am I making sense, or is this not making sense? According to the defense, the 1112 house camera 5 days after the murder picked up a white sedan that the police were looking for and investigating. Okay. All right. So let's read this again in its entirety. One area of the investigation had to do with a white sedan seen on a camera located at 1112 King Road, first glimpsed by officers on November 18th, 2022. By November 25th, 2022, police believed the car to be a white Elantra and asked law enforcement to be on the lookout for one. Precisely how the police came to believe the car was an Elantra is still unknown. A report from an analyst for the FBI dated March 21st, 2023, shows the analyst heavily relying on a video of a car heading in the wrong direction at the wrong time on Ringe Road. The state's latest filing admits that somewhere within all of this, they engaged in investigative genetic genealogy, using the DNA taken from the button on the sheath, and now claims that it was due to the use of this technique that it tipped local law enforcement to investigate Mr. Kohberger. It remains unclear what the police first relied upon in focusing their investigation on Mr. Kohberger. No matter what came first, the car or the genetic genealogy, the investigation has provided precious little. There is no connection between Mr. Kohberger and the victims. There is no explanation for the total lack of DNA evidence from the victims in Mr. Kohberger's apartment, office, home, or vehicle. In essence, through the lack of disclosure and their motion to protect genetic genealogy investigation, the state is hiding its entire case. The state apparently thinks that they need not explain how they came to think that it was Mr. Kohberger's DNA on the sheath. Presumably, the defense is expected to accept at face value that the sheath had touched DNA just waiting for testing by all the FBI's myriad resources. Additionally, the defense is to guess whether the state focused its investigation on Mr. Kohberger via a bizarrely complex DNA tree experiment or through its faulty identification of the vehicle. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Mr. Koberger does not accept that his defense does not need this information. It rather obviously falls within the ambit of Rule 16b, 14, and 5, blah, blah, blah. I want to get to where they call it placed. Okay, everybody's tracking though, right? You get where I'm going with this? Okay. Isn't this wild? Isn't this absolutely wild? So from this document, which I know we've all read before, but I feel like every time I swear you could reread it 10 times and you'll pick something new out of it every time. It's kind of wild. Factual background. Here we go, right at the beginning. So it's in the factual background here. On November 13th, 2022, law enforcement responded to a 911 call, found Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan deceased. Law enforcement later found, okay? Even Jay Logston here is saying, because Logston, by the way, who wrote this. Law enforcement later found a K-bar knife sheath placed next to Miss Mogan on her bed. The sheath was placed button side down and partially under Miss Mogan and the comforter. Okay. On November 20th, same day they found the glove, by the way. Same day the glove is located. On November 20th, 2022, the Idaho State Police Lab in Meridian, Idaho, located DNA on the button of the sheath and performed STR analysis that led nowhere when ran through CODIS. Okay. That's 4 DNA profiles from the crime scene, uploaded to CODIS, all ran through, all produced no hit. Twice, Jay says the sheath is placed. It is my very strong opinion the reason that Brian's defense team knows for a fact this sheath was placed is because not only was it not there on day one, but it likely wasn't found until the second sweep was done. Same day they found the latent shoe print. And my guess is that's how they know someone went in there from the time the crime scene was actually locked down and no one should have went in. The only people that would have had access to that house from the 13th and on is law enforcement. And they're saying, so you know how Payne claims, let's go clarify here what Corporal Brett Payne claims, how he found the sheath one more time, right? Because he's claiming that this knife sheath, I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. According to Jay Logston, one of the defense attorneys in this case who has access to all of the crime scene photos, the body cams, everything ISP did, he's saying law enforcement later found a K-bar knife sheath placed next to Mrs. Mogan on her bed. This sheath was placed button side down and partially under Mogan and the comforter. So let's try to, not to get graphic, but let's try to visualize here. Colleen, the Cowboys didn't go in until like December, mid-December. So it wasn't them, in my opinion. I truly believe that this sheath was placed inside that crime scene sometime between the night of November 13th, right? Like they discover the crime the morning of November 13th. That night it's locked down. ISP at that point is guarding the property. We have like News Nation videos and stuff. It's ISP at that point, day one, with their cars parked out in the driveway at night. Remember, the ISP guy is like backed up to the house for the night. So it's my very strong opinion that sometime from the evening of the 13th through the 14th, before ISP went back on the 15th to do the second sweep, sometime in that time frame is when the sheath was placed. And I think that's why we have a latent shoe print in the house. I think that that is why this shoe print wasn't found until the second sweep, because it didn't appear until after the first one. No, Ernest, I'm not talking crazy. I was actually just citing multiple documents to back my opinion. You can rewind and listen if you want. Too much info. I don't know how long the victims were there until they were transported, like taken out of the scene. I have no idea. I'm not sure. I just know that the time period, the time frame I'm talking about is literally from the evening of like November 13th to the morning of the 15th. It's a very small window of time. I don't know if they were autopsied the day after. So yeah, I mean, I'm not, all I can say is it's just, I don't know. To me, it's just my opinion here. I'm not stating this as a fact, but it is my opinion that the second forensic sweep, this latent shoe print, and this sheath are very much all in a relationship together. They all like each other very much, these three. The second forensic sweep, the latent shoe print, and the sheath, they all like each other a lot, in my opinion. Autopsies were done on the 17th. Oh, okay. So 4 days later. Mm. So that's interesting. So that would mean, I mean, I don't like to think that they would have laid there for 4 days, but in the Brian Drake case, if I remember correctly, when Lana was covering that, I want to say ISP left Drake in that office while they processed and stuff. I want to say it was almost a full 24 hours, if I remember correctly. So it would not surprise me at all if these victims likely were left as part of the scene for forensics, I would imagine. Hi, American Princess, right? If your forensics has to come back and do a second sweep, I don't know. I don't know, but it is, I just think that if the victims were still in the home too, when someone placed the sheath, too much info. No, there is no shoe print size ever spoken of anywhere. I just read through that actually, Corporal Brett Payne's Exhibit A with the Monroe County warrants that were served on Brian's house. I have all of those documents from Monroe County, and I was just reading Payne's Exhibit A from that. And no shoe size is ever mentioned for the latent shoe print. There is no shoe size ever mentioned at all in any document for the shoe prints. Do we know what day the pictures were taken of the forensics team by the stairs swabbing? Could be when they found the footprint. Maybe. Yeah, could be. So, either way, anybody else think it's pretty interesting that when we're talking about late prints here, for anybody just joining, I did read over a document for Amido Black. And one of the things that it talks about here is that it gives a very specific example when using Amido Black on a crime scene, specifically for a latent shoe print. It talks about, says right here, the Amido Black staining solution can be methanol or water-based. Amido Black in methanol has a greater staining power, but due to the toxicity of the methanol, it is also more dangerous. For use on a crime scene, example, shoe prints in blood, the water-based staining solution is advised. And I will post this for everybody as well so that you can go read through it yourself. Actually, maybe it'll let me do it right now. Will it let me like post this in the chat, you think, for you guys? Should, right? That way, if anybody wants to go read the article themselves, they can. The heck is this? Oh, you guys are gonna die laughing. So apparently my daughter must have been using my computer to look up the words to Hocus Pocus or something. And when I went to hit paste to give you guys the link to this, it pasted all of the lyrics to Hocus Pocus music. Okay, let's try this again. All right, let's see if this one works, because I would actually like people to read this document too. I think it's pretty interesting. There we go. So if you click that link, I'll pin it. This one here is the Crime Scene Investigator Network, and this is the document all about you can find all the resources that you need for basically anything crime scene investigations. It has everything for evidence and photography, evidence collection, crime scene response, college and university programs, you name it, it's there. So I'm going to close that one out because there's one more that I want to share with you guys as well. So I found this. This is the Ada County Sheriff's Office Forensic Lab. This is, I believe, the reason why did I grab this? This is their, basically their guidelines for using Amido Black, and it gives you the methanol-based, the water-based, and then it tells you all about the cautions, the safeties, the controls, the documentation for it. So I just wanted to share that one quick. I'll show it to you. And then I will also link it. Because this is Ada County themselves. I know it's not ISPs, but This is the Ada County Sheriff's Office Forensics Labs document here. So try and, I don't know if you guys can make this out here, but it's all, this gives you the Amido black water-based. This is what they should have used to get that latent shoe print. Tells you here the methods for using it. Tells you here the cautions and safeties. So it says Amido black works only with bloody or other protein-based impressions. Okay? Impressions. That would mean an impression in blood. That is a footprint, a fingerprint, a shoe print. That is an impression in blood. It says consider a presumptive test for blood prior to application when possible. Porous substrates may absorb the blue-black reagent, causing background staining that cannot be rinsed away. This might result in little contrast with the treated bloody impression. Use a ventilated area when possible and wear eye protection and mask when spraying any reagent. Okay. It also goes into like leucocrystal violet, LCV, is also used, it says is for use on bloody impressions. LCV is the reduced form of crystal violet and is a clear colorless reagent. When LCV and hydrogen peroxide come into contact with the hemoglobin in blood, an oxidation reaction catalyzed by the peroxidase-like activity of the hemoglobin will occur. The result is a dark violet dye, which has an affinity for proteinaceous substrates. The resulting violet color may increase the contrast of an impression on a substrate. LCV is especially useful for bloody impressions deposited on lighter colored porous and non-porous surfaces, such as vinyl flooring, carpet, fabric, etc. Results may be best on faint impressions. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you guys because that is Ada's, and I'll link that. Let me see here. That way, if you guys want to read it, you can. But yeah, what do you think so far? Anybody learning anything new from this, or is this stuff you've all already heard before? Because I feel like what we're reading here out of this filing, especially regarding from his defense team, it's always a thing to go over their files. The fact that you lost learning that 5 days after the murder. 5 days after the murder. So now remember, what they said. They said after November 14th, Brian's phone never pinged in Moscow again, right? They're saying after November 14th, because he allegedly went there the morning after. They're saying after November 14th, his phone never pinged in Moscow again. But yet on November 18th, the 1112 camera picked up a white sedan 5 days after the murder. It's still kind of over your head, Beckles. Okay, let me see if I can make it easy. It is my opinion that the second forensic sweep that led them to the latent shoe print is the exact reason how your sheath got placed. Okay. It is my very strong opinion that sometime between the evening of November 13th and then the morning of November 15th, when ISP goes back to do the second sweep, Shirley, you have no sound? I don't know. I think that might be you. Is my sound not working? I'm not muted. I'm not muted. Do you guys have sound? Thanks, Heather. You can hear me? Okay. So anyways, yeah. It is my very strong opinion, based on the fact that Corporal Brett Payne is claiming he later noticed this sheath, okay? So Officer Smith is walking Payne through this crime scene. Day of, allegedly. He is walking him through this crime scene. But he didn't see the sheath until later. Which tells me he didn't see the sheath the first time he was walked through that crime scene. Or why would he later see it? Especially if it's right there on the bed. Okay. So if this sheath is in the bed and he can see it from the door and it's sitting on the bed, then he should have noticed it immediately. It's laying on the bed to the right of the victim when viewed from the door. Right? According to Payne, he could see it to the right of the victim on the bed when viewed from the door. Okay. So if he's later noticing this sheath, it is my opinion he later noticed it because it wasn't there the first time he went around that crime scene. It wasn't noticed until the second sweep. Same time they found the latent shoe print. That sheath wasn't found on day one, in my opinion, is what I'm getting at. So either he later learned about it when they did the second sweep. Yes, sweet and salty, exactly. Maybe when bodies were moved, right? Okay. But I don't think it's that. I think he later noticed it because it wasn't there the first day. I think that it was likely found on the second sweep, which is how they know it was placed. Because the first sweep, ISP was photographing the crime scene. Okay. So it's going to be very easy to determine that that sheath was not there day one. And if someone went in, like I think they did, sometime between the night of the 13th through the 14th, okay, if somebody went in there in a rush trying to place that sheath, it makes sense why it was face down, partially under. Someone quickly trying to get in and out and hide it. They're trying to hide it under there so when the bodies are moved, it's found. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if I'm right and the bodies are still in that house the evening of November 13th and all day the 14th, someone went in a rush at some point, in my opinion, hastily trying to plant that sheath by attempting to tuck it under a victim. Maybe they got scared, maybe something, I don't know. But it appears that it was hastily tried to be like stuffed under, hidden under a victim in a blanket. And that is how they know it was placed. That's just my opinion. And I think it was placed in the 24 hours plus between the forensic sweeps of the house. Why wouldn't they have to go in front of her door to do that? They'd have to go in to get to the third floor. They have to go right past her door. Too much info. Of course, they'd have to go past Dylan's room to get to the third floor. It's the only way to the third floor. I mean, they could climb in the balcony. but I don't think whoever got in there, for all I know, the person who went into that house didn't have to sneak in at all. Do you get where I'm going with this? It doesn't mean somebody had to have necessarily snuck in the house in that time frame. There were plenty of law enforcement. According to the defense at that point, there would have been 60 plus agents who would have had access to that house. Okay. Right. So when you think about it in that sense, it doesn't necessarily have to be someone sneaking in to place the sheath. It could be, unfortunately, speculation here. It could be someone from law enforcement, like literally just, I know it sounds messed up and nobody wants to think law enforcement would ever plant evidence, but I mean, plenty of cases where they have. So let's not be unrealistic here. Correct, Pete Fox. They never said what direction the shoe print was going. Correct. But what, Sarah? I mean, I'm just, throwing out my own thoughts and opinions here. I'm not saying this is fact. It's just my very strong opinion that the sheath wasn't found until the second sweep because it wasn't there the first time around. Yeah, too much info. So the sheath wasn't in Xana's room. The sheath was on the third floor upstairs with Maddie. Sorry, I figured I'd mute while my cat was over here ripping apart her cat box like a maniac. I figured nobody wanted to hear that, so I muted. She's an animal, my majestic beast. All right, so anyways, the stairs are located, let me see, what was that? Oops, wrong one. Stairs are located at the driveway side of the house to get from floor 1 up to floor 2. Colleen, yeah, no, sorry, that was my cat. She does that. When she has to poop, she will come and meow at me and yell at me, and then she goes crazy in her box. And then now you might hear her literally ripping herself around the house as fast at Mach speed up and down the stairs because she's a wild animal. And I let her be a wild animal. She doesn't wear collars, clothes, or nothing. I let her be as wild as she wants. She's feral. I love it. So anyways, yeah, I don't know. So hopefully, I mean, you guys have any questions? Is there anything, maybe I can clarify? I'm hoping I made some sense as to what I'm thinking here, that I'm thinking that this sheath didn't appear until the second sweep, just like the shoe print, the latent shoe print. I think both were found on the same day. That's just my opinion. And I think that at that point, the only people who would have had access to the place to be able to place anything or remove evidence or tamper with evidence would have been a law enforcement officer. It would have been someone from either ISP, MPD, or FBI, because those are the 3 agencies that had access to that home at the time. So it's just my opinion. What do you think? Am I just a crazy bish? Feel like there was something else. There was one more thing, though, I feel like I wanted to mention. What was it? Maybe not. I'm so happy you've started doing Jesse. Oh, thanks, Jesse. I'm so happy you have started doing lives, Miss Potts. I enjoy the way you explain things. Thank you for starting to do this. You're not crazy. You make perfect sense. Okay, thank you. Echoes, we're all crazy. Yeah, we are. I mean, hey, it's okay. Think you might be too Lady Leo, too smart for your own good. I have been told that before, actually. You are not the first one. But does anybody else think that? Have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and forgiveness of your sins? Well, yes, of course, Jesse. But that's not the topic of tonight's live, my friend. Okay? I don't have mods here. And I don't mind you commenting, but yeah. Okay. So anyways, echoes, yes. Makes you want to pull your hair out. I know. Jesse Star. Oh, Jesse, not you. Okay, so not Jesse Stargazing. Jesse Hernandez asking me if I've accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior. You know, so yeah, but that's not the purpose of the live tonight, nor is it the topic. But thanks so much, Jesse Hernandez, for stopping by and adding to the algorithm. Appreciate you. Heather, Miss Potts, you haven't made it until you have certain people knocking at your door. Yeah, well, there's one person who better not show up knocking. We know he likes tracking people down. He shows up knocking on my door, we got problems. B-Fox. Leave your booklet at the door. Yes. Slip it under the rug. Slip the pamphlet under the rug. Jesse Hernandez. Johnny Milner. I'm new here. What up? Well, what up, Johnny? Welcome to the live. Jesse Hernandez. I'm just sharing the good news. God bless. No, thank you. And God bless you for sharing the good news. Jesus is my homie. Don't worry. He and I talk often, so you don't have to worry yourself about that. Okay? He's my buddy, my pal. Twiz is here. Stay home, Twizzlestick. Where's Twizzlestick? I knew Twiz wouldn't. You know, I gotta say, I'm disappointed. Okay? Twiz, Willie, they don't even come and say hi in the chat. I mean, I can't get mad at Willie. He was here last night, and I think he was on Dinkies for a while, so. Are a Wiccan. Who's a Wiccan? Not me. Twiz. Hello, buddy old pal. You've been listening. What do you think? What do you think hypothetically of what I think about this place, Sheath? I knew you were lurking listening, Twiz. Sharon Asp. I have a question, not in regards to your topic. I have an app that I use for my real estate. Why would it show KG and EC possibly deceased? I'm not sure. No idea. Did they buy a house together? Did they own a house together? I'm not sure why your real estate app would show that. Couldn't tell you. I know. Thanks for being here, Twiz. What do you think? Come on. You can at least comment. Like, stop. I'm not asking you anything about the case itself. I'm just reading you off my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory and giving you my opinion. That's all. P. Fox at Sarah. Don't get it twisted. My Bible is on the nightstand, but damn, we talking about murder here. For real, right? 4 of them. So, yeah. Maybe let's leave Jesus out of it for tonight, okay? I don't think he wants to hear this conversation anyway, so. So anyways, I don't know. I just wanted to hop on because, like I said, I was in traffic earlier today. I had this like epiphany and I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. And it got me looking back into the latent shoe print, the second forensic sweep, the Amido black, and then I found the document filed by Jay Logsdon and the wording for the place Sheath. And then we see in that same document that 5 days after the crime, the 1112 camera is picking up a white sedan that they focused on as part of their investigation. So yeah, there's quite a few things here that I feel like tie together, if you want my honest opinion. And I believe that the second forensic sweep, this latent shoe print, and the sheath all happened on the same day. If that helps anyone to understand what I was trying to get at in the last hour and 30 minutes of what I tried to show you to help you understand what's in my brain. What do we got here? Oh, dear God. All right, Clark. All these people, where are they all coming from? Who's sending them to my stream? You know? Love me some Jesus, but come on, guys, really? Is this what they do? Do they think that this is how they're going to actually recruit people to the faith? Is by spamming the chats of true crime live streamers or whatever? I'm not even a live streamer. I don't know what I am really. What am I here on this thing on YouTube? A live streamer? You know, bots for Jesus. Yeah, exactly, Sarah. Yeah, Lady Leo. Bye. LOL. Bye. See ya. You know, Clark Kent. Go make another account and come back in 20 minutes, buddy. These fucking people. Seriously, get a life. All right, let's see here. Thought I saw something here. It's for, there it is, Sharon. It's for checking backgrounds on clients. It shows addresses, phone numbers, and any charges on them. Okay. So I guess what I'm asking is in your app, what addresses does it show for Kaylee and Ethan in your app? I don't understand what you're getting at, though. Like, is it showing some weird address? And my dog. I do got a life, buddy. You know what my life is? It's not spamming other people's chats. My dog. My dog. Where are they all coming from? Heather Fitzgerald. Let's see here. I think that the car would have flagged sooner than the 25th for sure. One of the first things Ellie would do is search their system to see if they issued any tickets for a white car. Yes, right. Yeah, you're right. Nah, Jesse, I don't need a mod. These trolls don't bother me. I'm a fucking boomer. I dealt with trolls on Facebook for like a decade. Give me a break. My dog can come in here and call me a bitch, and I'd still let him. Look, I didn't block him. I didn't kick him out. He's all good, right? I've been called worse. Bitch is mild. Mild. Fucking trolls. So anyways, yeah. Guitar Hero trolling. My dog is probably, my guess, you know, I don't know, mom's basement maybe. Chilling in mom's basement. Crusty socks all around him. Empty Mountain Dew bottles everywhere. Shit, maybe I might just leave the chat. Maybe I'm gonna leave this stream open just to catch up. It's like gonna be like a bait live stream. What do you think? Give them the rope and let them hang themselves with it? Right? We could leave it up as like a bait live stream and just let all the bots and the trolls come into the chat so I can fuck with them for a little while because I'm bored. Yeah, like Twizzle's lives. I didn't want to turn my stuff into that though. I really was hoping to come on here tonight and hopefully just kind of share some of my thoughts and my opinions and why I think that this second forensic sweep that was done on the home along with this latent shoe print and the sheath actually all tie in together. I think all three of these things are in a very close relationship with each other. I think that they might even be all married to each other. The latent shoe print, your sheath, and your second forensic sweep. I think that they're all married together. One big happy family. That's what I think. Oh, thanks, Mary. I try to give information, you know. I really do. I hope you guys know that. As long as I've been around, you know, I usually try to just, as often as I possibly can, read you documents, read you facts, and then I'll just, you know, yeah, I do throw in my opinion and my speculation, but I at least say so. I at least say it's my opinion. I'm not one of these people out here talking about, you know, for example, a size 13 latent shoe print, Vans shoe print at the house. It's not a size 13. It's not a Vans. A size is never mentioned. And it just says Vans style. So, you know, I hope you know. I've always tried to just clarify as much as I possibly can. I'm honored. Okay, gotta say, I was dying. So JB Gunner the other day, right, read one of my comments. He did this video where he was kind of like blasting everybody. He likes to make fun of, he reads comments from his videos and he'll usually like flame and roast people, right? And he read one of my comments, but I wasn't being mean or anything, but the voice that he read it in, he's reading it as though I'm some like mean, angry lady on YouTube, you know, some troll commenting. And I was dying laughing the way that he read it, and I had to comment, and then I was over on his live today because he went live. Yes, Heather, it was hilarious, right? Hysterical. So I went over onto his live today, and he fucking modded me. Tell me that's not hysterical. The only person I've ever modded for in my life is Lana, right? I agree. I think JB's hysterical. I think he's absolutely hysterical. Like, honestly, I don't agree with some things he says, but that's okay. We all don't have to agree. I don't care. He's hysterical. He cracks me up, man. I just thought it was so funny that he like read out my comment, and then I go over today onto his live and he modded me. So now I'm technically a mod for Lana and I'm a mod for JB, but I wasn't expecting that. Just so you guys know. Yeah, I'm technically only a mod for one person, and that's Lana. And she's really the only person I prefer to mod for. Actually, no, I'm a mod for Audrey too. Now that I think of it, I think Audrey C's DNA podcast. If anybody, I'm sure all of you probably already follow Audrey, but if any of you do not follow Audrey, Miss Audrey Cakes, she's one of my favorites. I absolutely love her so much. You know who else I miss terribly, and I have not seen one of her videos come up in a long time, is The Hard Truth. Anybody know where she went? I haven't seen one of her videos in a long time. Who's Chubby AF? Jesse Alvarez. Chubby as F. Who's chubby as F, Jesse? That's not nice. I'm not chubby. I'm skinny AF, bro. I've been trying to pack on the pounds. At too much info. Do you know who the expert is that died? I don't know. All I can speculate is that we have a new expert witness disclosure for a psychologist by the name of Barbara. I would say maybe a psychologist that passed away. One of the I guess, I don't know, did they have a psychology expert? Because a new expert was introduced and disclosed. So. Oh, mitigation expert. Okay, so there you go. Heather saying it was a mitigation expert. Could that be psychology or no? A psychologist? I don't know. I just know we do have a new expert witness disclosure for a psychologist. DP mitigation founder Vince Gonzalez, possibly. Okay. So, yeah. I only speculated about the psychologist because I saw that, I don't know, a week or so, maybe 2 weeks ago, they did disclose an expert witness. And it's a psychological expert. Has anybody seen that? Have you guys read through that yet? You read through that, what this lady's background is? Do you want to? Anybody want to come on me on a journey? All right. Let's see here. If you guys are down, I'll bring it up. We can look at. I think she's pretty interesting. Her background. Chief medical examiner. Yeah, you guys want to do, oh, you're not interested at all, translucent? Okay, well, P Fox is, and Heather is, so, and I am, so we're going to do it. Still love you, though, but it's all good. You can click out. I'm going to look at it because it's interesting. And it's my live stream. All right. Case of interest. Let's find it. You like that, translucent? Lux, you down? Okay, cool. Everybody's ready. All right, cool. I'll bring it up. Let's do this. We can read it real quick. I think it was like, I don't know, 20 something pages, but I could probably skip over a bunch of it and fly through it. So let's do this. All right. New expert witness disclosure. Where is it? It was 9/12, I feel like, or something like that. What the fuck is all this? Wrong one. 9/5/2024 is when it was. Okay. Let me share my screen. Everybody ready? Who's just joining? Who's here? All right. O'Hara, Sarah, American Princess. Let's see. OCD still here. Lux is down. Have not read it. Too much info. Have not read it. My short-term ADHD is bad. Heather's down. Frosty Phantom is down. Ready to do this. Okay, let's do this, guys. All right, let me share my screen. So this is filed 9/5/2024. Yeah, it's see, I need Twiz. Twiz, are you listening? How do I make this bigger? Tell me right now. I know you're in here, Twiz. I did something earlier where it made, for some reason, the picture on my screen that I'm trying to show you smaller, and I want it bigger. Hi, Twiz. Thank you. I knew you were here. How do I make this on my screen bigger? Nope, it's not Control Plus. The actual like box. I was doing something in this brand thing on the side of StreamYard. Okay. And I have it on like default camera. I don't know. No matter what I click, it won't change it back to just regular. And it's bugging me. Twiz is like the CIA. He's always listening. He just doesn't talk. So it's something in StreamYard that I accidentally did, and I don't know how to undo it, I guess is what I'm saying. Maybe it's in my settings. Nope. I just want to make my document that I'm trying to share bigger, and I don't know how to do it. Did that do it? Nope. I just want it to go back to like regular layout, I guess you could say. Regular layout. That's all I want it to do. Okay, I made something go away there. Might be listed in your presentation, not sure. Okay. Sorry, guys. I promise you, One day I'll figure it out. All right, well, I'm going to do my best here. So this is one of 54 pages for this expert witness disclosure. Her name is Barbara C. Wolf, MD, 9601 Midsummer Lane. She's out of Leesburg, Florida. This was filed, state of Idaho, on, what did I say, like 9/5? Yeah, 9/5/2024, electronically filed. Let's see, it says Dr. Wolf is expected to testify to the findings outlined in her affidavit filed with the court on September 5th, 2024. In the defendant's motion to strike state's notice of intent to seek the death penalty on grounds of vagueness and balancing aggravators and mitigators. Her curriculum vitae is attached. Let's see. So it says that her website is medicusforensics.com. Her education is Boston University 6-year program in liberal arts and medical education, Boston University School of Medicine. Postgraduate training, anatomic pathology, Mallory Institute of Pathology, and Boston Veterans Administration Hospital, Boston, Mass. Anatomic pathology, New England Deaconess Hospital, Boston, Mass. Leahy Clinic, Medical Center, Burlington, Mass. Clinical pathology, New England Deaconess Hospital. Hematopathology, Mallory Institute of Pathology. Her license is out of the state of Florida, Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey. However, New York and New Jersey are inactive. Her certifications are through the American Board of Pathology, American Board for Forensic Pathology, the American Board of Pathology for Hematology, American Board of Pathology, Anatomic Pathology, and National Board of Medical Examiners. So see why I'm saying this is very interesting. She literally is a prior medical examiner. She's an official medical examiner. That's what this lady does. Pathology, too. All right. Who's here? Might be listed in my okay, I already saw that. Wolf, you say. Yes. Barbara Wolf, P. Fox. Yes. Twizzle. Think it's in that setting where you put your camera. In the setting where I put my camera. What do you mean? This looks like a phone overlay. I don't know. I'm not on my phone. Anyways, is Miss Potts in mobile view? I have no idea. Under the screen, you can choose layouts. No. You can't. I'm on StreamYard. I'm in the StreamYard studio. I have all of these boxes in front of me. One is to show me, like, and no matter what I click on, it doesn't change it no matter what I click anyway. Ooh, wait a minute. That did something. Hang on. Hang on. Sorry, guys. I'm not a real YouTuber, so I don't know what it's called, Twiz says. Yeah, I don't know either. All right. Anyways, let's go back and look at this. So you guys see why I was saying this expert witness, her background is pretty interesting. Basically, chief medical examiner, 2007 to present. She is the chief medical examiner, District 5, state of Florida, serving Marion, Lake, Sumter, Hernando, and Citrus counties. It gives you all of this other background of hers. She was a coroner's pathologist, staff pathologist, director of hematopathology. Like, her background is wild, and it all has to do with pathology, medical examiner, her scientific appointments and committees, board of directors for the National Association of Medical Examiners, 2017 to present. So these are all of her, let's see, she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are all 2015, 16, or 17 to present that her are the committees she sits on. Board of Directors, National Association of the Medical Examiners, National Association of Medical Examiners International Relations Committee. She is the chair of the National Association of Medical Examiners Inspection and Accreditation Committee, National Association of Medical Examiners Strategic Planning Committee, Florida Medical Examiners Commission, Florida Sheriff's Association Cold Case Advisory Commission. Everybody liking this so far? Her background, what do you think? So, what do you mean, Twiz? You'd have to go live to mess with it, it looks like. What do you mean? Too much info. Orlando. Did I say Orlando? I think that's what it said, right? She's the chief medical examiner right now, I believe. Yeah. Chief Medical Examiner, District 5, State of Florida is what it says. It doesn't say Orlando. It says the counties. Marion, Lake, Sumter, Hernando, and Citrus counties. She's the chief ME. So, yes, P. Fox, that's what I'm thinking, right? She's going to be going against the state's medical examiner, maybe? Or, I don't know. It looks like you have it in vertical instead of landscape. Probably. You might be right about that, Twiz. And I'm not sure how to get it back to the original. Like, it literally says to press Shift +8 to get back to cinema layout, right? And when I do that, it's not working. So I don't know. Those counties are West Central Florida. Okay. So guess what I wanted to get into here is because it talks about she is, so let's go reread again just to clarify what they are saying she's going to be testifying to. She is expected to testify to the findings outlined in her affidavit filed with the court September 5th. Let's go to the findings in her affidavit and see what she's got to say. Findings in her affidavit. Do you see this pages upon pages of credentials of this woman? You see this, right? All of this that I'm scrolling back, this is everywhere she's worked. This is all of her credentials. Look, child injury and death scene, reenactment scene, reconstruction. child injury and death scene reenactment and scene reconstruction. This is everything this woman's done. Okay. She does crime scene reenactments. She does all kinds of stuff in her career. It's wild. Ocala, Florida at some point. She did death certification in Ocala. So this is just pages and pages and pages and pages of what she's done. Practical homicide investigation, advanced course, patterns of injury, sudden unexplained infant death. So she's done, yeah. This is wild. Like I'm on page 21, 22, 23, 20. So the first, ooh, that's interesting. Listen to this. In 2016, National District Attorneys Association course, Inside the Mind of a Killer, Cause of Death and Homicide Cases, and Uncovering Staged Crime Scenes. National Homicide Investigators Association annual course, Updates in Medico-Legal Death Investigation and Staged Crime Scenes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's multiple things here where she participated in, took courses in staged crime scenes. P. Fox. Bing bong. Exactly. Yep. Wild. Isn't this crazy? See, this is why I just like reading docs, man. So I'm a dork. Then I read some, and then you find something and you're like, oh, wait. So stage crime scene, uncovering a stage crime scene, cause of death and homicide cases, sexual homicides, sex-related homicides and death. Let's see what else we got here. So I don't even know what page I'm on now. We're still on just her credentials, courses, classes, asphyxial death and firearm injury, blunt force and sharp injury. So in 2019, working with your medical experts, part 1, overview and injury causation, blunt and sharp force injuries, and part 2, injury causation, asphyxial death and firearm injuries. Mesa, Arizona is where she did that. 2019 annual meeting of the National Association of Medical Examiners. Interesting. National District Attorney Association Forensic Evidence Course, Death Investigation, Part 1, the Autopsy, Science and Medicine, Cause of Death in Adult Victims, Equivocal Deaths and Staged Crime Scenes. That was in 2019. She does a lot of staged crime scene stuff, huh? Here we go. Original reports. Okay. So this is her bibliography. Okay. So these are some of her report findings, I guess. Everybody still here? You guys find this interesting or no? Is this boring? No, I'm not Lana's researcher, translucent. I mean, I have done some research for her, but no, I'm not her only researcher. No, she does her own shit. If she asks me to look into something, I do. Yeah. But yeah, no, she does her own shit. Okay, you guys do like this. I love Lana, right, Lux? Same. Love her. Love her to death. She's my inspiration, right? Because I'm a doc nerd. She just knows I'm a doc nerd. And I love to, I love to read stuff like this. That's all. So glad you guys are finding this interesting because I find it very interesting too. So these are some of this is her bibliography, original reports, If anybody wants to read along, you can literally, I know I don't know, I'll figure out my screen for the next live. I promise it won't be the same way when I do another live. But if you want to read along, it's the new expert witness disclosure that was filed on 9/4. It's right on the cases of interest site. So let's see. We are on, they finally, after page 26 of credentials, get to her bibliography. So an original report, let's see. We have evidence to suggest that the human fetal spleen is not a hematopoeic organ. So I don't know. This must be some of her, I'm guessing, reports that she has written throughout her career is my guess. I'm not going to read all of them, but I am going to see if any of them stick out to me in regards to what we're looking at. Trying to see if I see anything. I'm looking for. All right, how many of these do we got? My God. She's apparently got a bunch of these. I just want to get to her affidavit of her findings. See what she's got to say. Okay, so it's citing her texts, her books, her abstracts. Dot, 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 dot. This woman is honestly, wow. Okay, so here's her curriculum vitae, University of Idaho. Hang on. Wait a minute. What's this? Hang on. What is this? January 9th, 2024. Elitza Plenner-Cover, Associate Dean of Faculty and Professor of Law, College of Law, University of Idaho. Date of first employment, August 2014. Date of tenure, 2018. Date of present rank or title, August 2020, Professor of Law, May 2022. Whose is this? This isn't Barbara. Aliza, Aliza, Cover, Cover. Does anybody have any idea why this person's curriculum vitae is attached to Barbara Wolf's expert disclosure? Anyone? Hey, Moonlight, how you doing? Barbara Wolf is Pi Beta Kappa Alpha Omega Alpha. Well, yeah, PFOX at this point, usually if you are a doctor or a lawyer, you were probably in a sorority or a fraternity. So, what I'm asking, friends, is why does our expert witness disclosure here for Barbara Wolf have a curriculum vitae for a woman who is not Barbara Wolf? I don't understand. I'm so confused. Let me read this, I guess. Because now I'm super confused as to why this woman's curriculum vitae would be with Barbara Wolf's stuff. And that's it. And where's the affidavit with Barbara Wolf's findings? Guys, I think I accidentally found something because there's no affidavit in here for Barbara Wolf of her findings. And what is in here is a curriculum vitae for an Alitza Plenner Cover from January 9th, 2024. And she is apparently tenured or something. She is the Associate Dean of Faculty and Professor of Law, College of Law on U of I's campus. I don't think it's a case example, no, because it says this expert witness disclosure that I just went through, okay, all this stuff right here for Barbara Wolf. Listen, I'm going to go back up to the top. Think they attached the wrong thing, dude. Just saying, they attached the wrong thing to this document because there is no affidavit. I'm not seeing it. I just went through all 27 pages. There is no affidavit of findings. It shows her workshops, her lectures, her books, all of her. There's no affidavit of findings from this expert witness, Barbara Wolf. And it says right here at the very top of this document for her disclosure. See right here. Oh, wait a minute. What's this? Oh, okay, 2. This is why this is included. I'm such a dummy. Look, I read Dr. Wolf's stuff up here and skipped over the number 2. So included in this disclosure is going to be 1. So sorry, guys. Oh my goodness gracious, it's late. I'm going to bed soon. 1, Barbara C. Wolf. But it does say, okay. 2 is your Elisa Pleener Cover. She is it says a complete statement of all opinions to be expressed in the basis and reasons therefore are contained in Ms. Cover's law article, Narrowing Death Eligibility in Idaho, an empirical and constitutional analysis. And then her curriculum vitae is attached. But now it says Dr. Wolf's curriculum vitae is attached, but it also said right here, Dr. Wolf is expected to testify to the findings outlined in her affidavit filed with the court on September 5th, 2024. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. It says this right here, 9/5/2024, unless I clicked on the wrong thing, which I don't think I did. Cases of interest, right? Right here. Expert witness disclosure. There's only 1 for 9/5. And I am not seeing her yeah. Her affidavit with findings is not in here. So I don't know. I was hoping to read her findings in her affidavit, but it's not in here. So that's kind of a bummer. Her background's pretty interesting, though. What do you guys think? Pretty wild, right? Crime scene reenactment, stage crime scene. She's got most of her background, a chief medical examiner. She is the current chief medical examiner in Florida for District 5. I think that's pretty crazy. Background is basically all pathology, reenactment of crime scenes, reenactment of staged crime scenes. It's pretty wild. I don't know. I thought that was pretty interesting to learn. What do you think? Yeah, you're right. O'Hara might be sealed. Probably is. So yeah, time is it? Oh, it's late. It's 11:15. Well, we're at 2 hours. I wanted it to be like an hour, maybe hour and a half, so I've definitely gone further than I expected. I really hope that I was able to succinctly get my point across, or hopefully that you guys at least understood a little. If I didn't get my whole point across, I hope you understood where I'm coming from. Thanks, Meg. And why I titled the live the way that I did. I hope I was able to at least clarify that it is just my opinion. But yeah, I think your second forensic sweep and this latent shoe print and this sheath are all in one happy little marriage together. And I hope I was at least able to present you with some information from, based on what Corporal Brett Payne says in his affidavit, what I was able to show you regarding Amido Black, how it's used specifically for like a shoe print in blood. And then along with the filing from Jay Logston about the placed sheath, I hope I made sense as to why I believe they know it's placed and they know when it was placed. So I don't know. Hopefully you guys, understood where I was coming from. Agree, disagree, leave it in the comments. You know the drill. You don't have to agree with me. Totally fine if you don't, or if there's something that maybe I didn't make sense on or something, that I can clarify. Would love to. But yeah, I really appreciate all of you. I think the last time I looked, I was super close to 500 subscribers. Now we need a YouTuber that doesn't mess it all up. Well, thanks, Twiz. I'm glad that you're listening. I figured you're always listening at the very least. I know you're always there. And then hopefully I will be able to fix whatever's wrong with whatever format I put my screen in. Paul. That's a pic of my ex-wife. What, the witch? The witch and her broom? It's spooky season. And I have a cat. Meg. Twiz is the new Alexa. Twiz is Oz, right? He's the Oz. No, I love Twiz to death. Okay. Twiz is a cool dude. Wish he could come up here, or at least I could somehow have him in the background, like in the chat out back, or like give him access so that he could come in and fix my street, like fix everything the way that I want it. And just like click, click, boom. Because I'm no good at that. In the description. What's in the description? Translucent. What's in the description? Oh, to get more. Oh, okay. Sorry. I just saw your other comment. Hashtag Idaho 4 in the description. Jesse. If we say his name 3 times, he appears. All right. So, yeah. Yeah, Moonlight, good idea, right? Maybe he can teach me over video chat. I don't even think he's allowed to communicate with me. I don't think he's allowed to actually communicate with me. He can only, like, hypothetically pretend communicate. But, yeah. I hope you guys have a great night. I hope I made sense. I hope it was informative. So, yeah. Halls. Oh, hi, Halls. Where'd you come from? Let's see. Logical theory, Miss Potts. Makes a lot of sense. In a case with not much, was an ISP present in the house before Fry and Payne arrived? Yes. Yes. Based on the record, I'd put my money on them placing. Yeah. Right. Agreed. Yeah. No, you are right, though. ISP was in the house before Payne and Blaker arrived because ISP was taking, if I remember correctly, I already closed out the document or I would bring it back up. But if I remember correctly, it is stated in the probable cause affidavit that when Payne arrived, ISP was already there when Payne and Blaker arrived. So, yeah. But, all right. Well, I hope everybody has an awesome night. Like I said, thanks again. Hopefully we'll hit that 500 and, you know, I'll figure out how to actually use this thing. I am me McCourt. I see anything as it only coming up in portrait mode for me with my eyes. I can't see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'm sure I can fix it and stuff. Good night, Twiz. Good night, Lux. Good night, everybody. I hope you have an awesome night. Take care. Catch y'all in the comments and in the other lives.